In this video, we are going to look about training design. A training design is a detailed plan for what an individual will do, why he or she will be doing it, and the best ways to reach the training goals or objectives. A training design is a technique of arranging the course content in a logical manner so as to enable the trainee to learn maximum from the training course. The beginning for any design of training should be that the needs for training be identified. When the needs have been identified and uniformly agreed upon, a further analysis is required for providing detailed and specific information. The training may vary from being for an individual or a small group to a much larger and more general needs. This necessitates job analysis and task analysis that will help to collect appropriate information about the desired job performance. The design of a training intervention involves many variables and prerequisites. There are a few points that needs to be considered while designing a training program. Basically, the effectiveness of a training program depends largely on its design. It is the responsibility of the training designer to design an orderly, motivating, purposeful, useful, and interesting training program. There are some important considerations that needs to be kept in mind when designing a training program. We have to cover all the contents of the training program. A training program may not be effective if some of the important contents of the training program are left uncovered. A training program should be so designed that it motivates the participants. As they are adults and experienced people, they want to learn purposeful, useful, interesting new ideas from a training program. Combination of training methods can be used to instead of using a single training method. This necessarily motivates the trainees to learn more from the training programs. A training program should be designed such that it starts from simple contents. It is useful to design a training program so as it helps trainees get absorbed into the training activities. If the complex training program content is taught in the beginning of the program, the trainees get a psychological fear of it as being very difficult and they lose the interest in the training activities. The content of the training program should be such that it changes attitudes of the participants to move on to knowledge improvement and paves the way for development of the required skills among the trainees. The contents of the training program should be divided into modules which will help in comprehensive learning. This will also help the trainees to concentrate well on one module at a time is dealt with intensively. A certain amount of time to be allocated for each of the activities and modules of the training program. The breakup in any training program is advised as it has been noticed that breakup of the training content helps trainees to enhance their learning capabilities. The training program should not be either on a Monday or Saturday because the percentage of participants will be low. For the simple reason, it will hamper the only break individuals get from work during the week. We will look into the factors affecting training design. When preparing a training design, we need to be aware of the factors that have the potential to influence the implementation of a training program. The objective of a planning exercise in order to set up a training program is to ensure optimum results from the efforts gone into generating it, as well as maximum satisfaction to the participants who take part in it. Some of the factors that can affect the training design is that need assessment is to be completed as part of the entire training design content so that the contents and the objectives of the program are clear. Job analysis is to be completed to understand the relationship among tasks and the necessary knowledge and skills required to perform the task. Unknown content added to the training program could cause problems. Therefore, before moving on, each content and module of the program has to be researched and enough data has to be collected on them. The leader's guide should be prepared in detail for those areas which require an instructor. A reference manual of the training program should be prepared for the participants, which gives them details of the program and what they get out of it. Use of video as a media could consume more time. Hence, shorter materials or the social media could be used to showcase much more content. The material required for the program by the participant as well as the instructor should be easily available in order to facilitate the smooth beginning and the running of the training program. In case of the multiple instructors being used for the training program, there should be a level of coordination and uniformity among them, which will definitely help in solving a lot of problems of the organization as well as the participants to a certain extent. Revision of the content after pilot review would unnecessarily consume more time and effort of the organizers and the instructors. The content of the training program can be planned such that all loopholes are identified and covered before the pilot review, and if any such faults do come up, only they can be rectified instead of changing the entire content. If the training program is computer based, it is advantageous as it would be time saving and effective using on a platform such as software that is simple and easy, and if possible the use of which is known to the instructors and the participants, because using a new platform or a software of which nobody is aware would involve a lot of consumption of time, energy and money in teaching the working of the new platform to all. When we talk about the constraints in the design, there are many constraints which can influence a training program that is designed. The two major categories of constraints in designing a training program are organizational or environmental constraints and the trainee population. When we talk about the organizational or the environmental constraints, one of the organizational constraints is budget, which limits the change that must be made about who get trained. What types of training should they receive? One of the ways to make this decision is using the strategic direction of the organization, which provides a rationale to determine who gets how much of what kind of training. It is essential for the top managers in the HR to develop their own mission and goals for the HR area. Even if the organization does not have a clear strategic plan, this helps define HR priorities and determines how to put available resources in line with the direction of the organization. Another major advantage is that it involves the top management in strategic planning. The technological advances used in the organization affect the type of the training it is able to offer. There are certain legal aspects to be taken into consideration while making decisions about the priorities involved in training. When we see the HR department presents a budgeting process that charges the others for its services it provides. Charging of the services provided has become an essential and integral part of the HR department, as they are also required to justify their existence and efficiency in an organization. The budgeting process in an organization is similar to an outside consultant building process. So, when providing cost estimates, the HR departments need to understand that they are competing with the limited resources made available to them and need to be accurate as possible in the budgeting process. Once the length of the training program has been estimated, it is also necessary to estimate the time that will be taken to develop the training delivery. The more accurate the estimate, the more accurate will be the costing and the higher will be its credibility among the clients. The amount of time to prepare a budgeting program can be estimated from the length of the training program. There are various types of cost involved in the training, such as development costs, direct cost, indirect cost, overhead cost, and participant compensation, evaluation cost. In some instances, trainees have negative feelings about a particular method of training. If this is made known during the design stage, a different method can be considered. It is also possible to include attitude change modules in the existing technique of training. That is to say, that if found through the need analysis that a particular method of training is disliked because of the past experience or word of mouth, a technique to change the perception should be included in the training program, or if possible, use another method of training. When we say about developing objectives, the type of training objectives can be the trainee reaction objectives, learning objectives, transfer of training objective, organizational outcome objectives. The training need analysis plays a major role in determining the objectives of a training program. The results are the consequences of integrating the organizational job and employee Analysis is that it identified performance anomalies, their effects on organizational output, and also the causes of the anomalies. From these performance anomalies, it helps to set learning objectives, transfer of training objectives, and the organizational outcome objectives. The structure and process of developing a list of good objectives for the training program remain the same, irrespective of the differences in the content of various types of objectives. Objectives are statements about what is to be expected to be accomplished. A good objective generally has the components like a desired outcome, conditions, and standards.